That's how cold it is today. So Kenworth has been really, really nice. I'm really happy with this truck. This side's kind of dirty. I started cleaning up these dirty old wheels with some SOS pads, and this side is how I got them looking without a polish. Just a cleaning, you know what I mean? After the winter, what I'll do is I'll take them off and take them to my buddy to polish them. There's a bunch of other stuff too, but it's all small stuff. This video is basically centered around this pintle hitch plate. See how he's got this, like, the frame sticks out more? Well, that causes a problem when I'm dumping. This truck doesn't dump high enough. So, I don't know why they didn't just go like that. I don't know. But instead of doing all of that, I think I'm just gonna go take some of this top corner off halfway down here and then just plate it. Because that's a lot of work, taking all of that's welded in there and everything. They did a really nice job of gusseting it on the inside and all that. And then it raises another problem with, if I take this back to here, look where the air can is. So I don't know why they did that. Maybe they didn't. You know what I'm thinking? He said that when he got this truck, it had a different body on it, and then he bought this body brand new. So maybe he got the wrong size. I don't know, but I'm not too concerned about it. So I think what we'll do is we'll just trim that. But for now, I gotta get these backup lights off. There's also no ID lights. So I'm thinking I'm gonna drill some holes through here. I took that hitch off because it was just small. I gotta get a bigger one. Yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna do this. I don't know, let's just wing it. What size is this? Oh, I know what size it is. Yeah. Maybe not. Maybe it's this size instead of this size. Problem is there's a wire like in the way. The wire that goes to the back of this light is in the way of my, every time I go to turn, so it's loose. I'm just gonna have to bite the bullet and get the right size. All right, this time I brought the whole set because this is getting ridiculous. My son's working on his brakes, but there's a dust shield that's giving him a hard time. What size is this? I mean, wow, let me see that.
Yeah, dude, this thing's rotten.
Look at that, was his dust shield on his brakes. This is pissing me off. I literally brought the whole set and none of these fit. This is bullshit. Okay. This wouldn't be bad if I had a shop and I had like all the tools next to me, but I have to keep getting the tools. Let's see if this Harbor Freight little travel pack socket kit will let's try, what is this? Let's try a 16. Okay, 16 millimeter it is. Unbelievable. Well, it's believable because it's happening. So what I'll do is I'll just let this light hang down because we're gonna put it back somewhere. This tab's probably gonna have to move down quite a bit. I don't know if I wanna. I just gotta take off this corner. You see, I don't want to take off too much because, I mean, I like having strength. I don't know. I don't know. I got to think about this. Let me get that other light off. I'll think about it and let you know what I come up with. My wife got me new tool because I'm on the Milwaukee kick right now. I think what we should do is, this is really nice, take these mud flaps off so I don't have to keep crawling under them because they're heavy. They're not regular mud flaps. They're made out of conveyor belt, which is nice, but they're in the way. Oh yeah. Okay. Get that plate off. Take the mud flap off. And so we don't lose the hardware, I'm going to put all the hardware back on, just loosely. Alright, so I got both mud flaps off. I helped him finish his brakes. I did not do the brakes for him because I want him to learn, but I also don't want him getting hurt, and I also don't want him breaking stuff and costing himself more money, so I did have to supervise. But it's important that he fully understands now how everything works. So that's done. I made some coffee. The problem I'm having is I'm really having a hard time deciding what angle to cut this. I'm going to drink this coffee while you watch this clip from the first load I ever dumped with it, and the body was up in the air, and you could see this piece and that piece almost touching. The safety cable right there pulls on the lever and shuts off the lever so it doesn't, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, you know what I mean. So it doesn't go up any higher, so it doesn't hit right there. But I think we're gonna cut that off and adjust it because I would like it to go higher. Okay, so you saw that clip, you see what I mean? What I'm thinking is, and I'm still drinking the coffee because it's freezing cold out. And I'm really having a hard time finding the motivation to butcher this thing up because every welding project, you gotta start fresh with some butchering before you can get to the building. Okay, so what I'm thinking is we just go from here down like this to that hole, because that hole's there anyways, but that only leaves this much plate. I'd rather not do that. You know what I mean? There only leaves this much attached to the back of the frame, rails, and then the rest would be on the gusset. What if I went across to the top, maybe? Then that would leave us this much? I don't know, let's just break out the torch and just make a mess. I don't know what happened to all my chalk. Let's, just use this Sharpie, go middle of the hole. Alright, I made it about halfway across. This is ridiculous. I should have went and got a new tip. I can't even find the torch tip, the tip cleaner. So basically what it is see those holes? The center hole is the one that blows the oxygen, that blows the molten metal across. If that clogs up, or like you hear that pop
what happens is that's rust popping. The rust pops, it pops back into these holes, and it clogs them, and then you don't get the high pressure of air to blow the molten metal. This is a huge mistake, not getting a new tip before starting this, but whatever. Well, that is gonna be the ugliest cut I've ever done. And it's my stupid fault for not going to get a new tip. I've known for a long time that tip is not working right. I actually think that torch isn't working right. The trigger's kind of sticky. That's problem number one. Problem number two, I haven't used the torch since last year. So, I think. So, number one, bad tip, possibly bad torch. And number three, bad cutter, because I'm just out of practice. And this is super thick. It was melting, but it just wouldn't blow through. They make different size tips, so I probably should have went and got a bigger tip. I've had tips with the bigger center hole, the blowhole. Get the mind out of the gutter, Steve. And the problem I was having now is the hole kept closing. Whatever. Let's see if we can get it off. This thing is one of my favorites. Oh, God. That's embarrassing. That has got to be one of the worst cuts I've ever made in my life. Like, if my dad was still around, I could hear him right now yelling. That's as crooked as a ram's ass. That's terrible. Like, I'm genuinely embarrassed about that. See, this is what I was worried about, is because that tip wasn't blowing it through. It's still stuck in some places, like it welded itself back together. I think this side's good. There we go. I should probably put you back on the tripod. Ooh. Pop goes the shitty job. It's not terrible now that that's off. Yeah, no, it's still terrible. It's getting dark out. I don't think I'm going to sit out here and grind and piss off the neighbors. But my plan is, okay, I'm going to buy a, maybe not 1/2 inch, but 3/8 plate. And then just go from here down. We should probably tomorrow pull this truck forward, put the body up in the air, and see if this is enough, you know. Alright guys, it's the next morning, and I noticed something last night. I don't know why I kept calling this plate 1/2 inch plate yesterday. I think I kept calling it 1/2 inch plate. It's not. It's 5/8 plate. So, as you can see, if you look there, you know, I don't like to use the end thing. I mean, you can if you want, but whatever. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5/8. So this is 5/8 plate. I thought about cutting this thing off and putting it back here. Again, last night I was staring at it and I'm like, geez, this would be really nice if it was back here where it belongs. Because realistically, this plate should be under here, supporting right here, that pivot point. I mean, yeah, they got it right there, but you can notice right here, this has a slight sag to it, and this plate right here is probably coming down a hair. That's because this plate should be under here supporting this over. Because the only strength that this plate has is in this back upright piece, keeping it straight. If I put it back there, we would be like, the air cans would be sticking out. So I like that it's protecting the air cans.
So I think I'm just gonna keep doing my design that I'm doing, and then just get some gusset pieces and then gusset that inner one up. I also started doing some thinking about why my torch was not cutting right. Number one, I need a new tip. I also think that's the wrong size tip, and the other thing too is I'm just out of practice. I need to get back to doing some more welding projects because I used to be really good. But anyways, let's go find a piece of steel. Okay, so I went to the steel yard. I got this piece of 5/8. It's 6 foot long. It, however, is not the right size. All they had was, it's cheaper to buy it in flat bar. So the place I went to, all they had was, and it's also cheaper instead of cutting this off of a long one if you buy a drop. So all they had was 6-inch. I think we need like 5, so I might have to rip this down some, because if not, I would have had to pay for the whole 24 foot length of flat bar 5/8 steel. This 6 foot piece was $125, so I can't imagine what the 24 footer cost. But the other thing too is I went and got a new tip, because I don't believe this tip was the right tip for the application, because this one is a 00. I ended up wire brushing it to get the number off of it. 00 tip is the reason why I'm having trouble cutting through this. And it took me a little bit, and I had to like go back into welding mode and refresh myself on the chart and all that, because let's face it, I don't do this every day, so I always have to refresh myself. That's a 00, and this is a 1 tip. See the tiny hole in the center? That is the air, okay? So that is the air, like oxygen, whatever. That's what blows the molten metal out. See how small that hole is? When you get into these thicker metals, it takes a bigger hole in the center to blow that molten metal out. You need more airflow. So what was happening was I had the wrong tip in there, because who knows what I was doing like when I used this last. Who knows? So basically, I needed to increase the airflow for the thickness. So I just bought this new tip. It's good to have a cleaning kit like this, the tip cleaning kit, if you're like me and you don't cut all the time and you're not really good at keeping your distance. Sometimes I'm too far away, sometimes I'm right on. I got a shaky hand. What'll happen is you'll have to clean your tip more than a guy that has a very steady hand. You will have to clean your tip frequently. So we'll put this one back in here because it's still a good tip. It's just wrong application for this. Let me take a measurement from there to here. We're gonna have extra, but that's okay because we're gonna use this to gusset it. I think I'm gonna trim some of that off that plate now that I got a better torch tip, I guess. And then try to go straight up and then put that 3/8 plate in here all the way to the end. We're gonna try to catch it right here. That'll support here. And I'll weld in the backside here on both sides. I'm gonna have to crawl in there. And then what I'll do is weld on the inside all across here. And then I might do a triangular square piece and come down like this to try and hold that. Or maybe this way, in line with this piece, on the inside I can put a gusset here, but I don't know, maybe like that. I don't know. We'll just see what happens. Side to side, it's 39 inches. I do have this set up like this. So get yourself a straight edge. These are my favorite. 39 inches.
You're going down now. That's much faster. Probably would have been better if I used a straight edge, but I don't know. Whatever. Shaky hand is what I have to deal with. Man down. Almost. That's not bad. You know. All right. Next up. Okay, so now that piece is 6 inches. I'm almost tempted to shave this off again, but I don't want to take too much of this plate, but it's either shave this junk one or shave the new one. 5 inches? I'd have to shave an inch off that other one. I don't know. Shave the junk or shave the new. We got a lot of gusseting down here. It's heavy duty. 5/8 also, 5/8. Then this. Oh, decisions. I don't want to make the wrong decision, but I probably will. This piece is 6 inch by 6 inch for the gusset. So what I'm going to do is make 2 triangles out of this one piece. I'll do this triangle, that triangle. So I'm going to put the triangle in here, okay, to support this. It'll go this way from down here to there. And 6 inches will get me a little past here, a little past this, so this downward pressure will be on the gusset. I'm going to try to trim this on an angle, upward, have that plate come over it, and weld it really good. Because I thought about it, this is like a little bit and it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you weld another one, it's really like, if I could have bent this piece, it's a continuous, we grab the whole frame, we just have to gouge this out and fill this and weld it really super good. So it'll be a continuous 5/8 plate. It'll just have a bend to it and then go up, so it'll still have strength in it. So yeah. That's much better. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I got this triangular piece up here. I got the end of it jammed in the bumper there, so that's working out good. What I'm gonna try to do is I'm gonna try to hit it with the torch and put a bevel on it. I don't want to spend all day out here with the grinding wheel trying to grind a bevel into that. The reason why you want to bevel it is so when we weld in there, you know, we're not welding on the outside. People don't put good enough bevels a lot of times, so then their plates will crack and break off. It's because you're just putting in an external weld, basically a bead on the outside. So then you have all this leverage in a heavy plate, and flexing side to side cracks the welds and they break off. At least that's been my experience. Alright, I did both plates. I would say out of both triangles that I cut, that's probably my best one. I mean, if you're the guy with the very steady hand, I envy you, because I have a very shaky hand. So this one I went a little deep on, so I'm not going to bevel both sides because I don't want to change the height. So that's enough to get a bite on. So, all right, grinder time. Well, let me grind these up, clean them. I'll spare you that because that's boring, and I'll show you when I'm done. Okay, so I took the straight edge and I marked that, and I'm going to cut that off because I don't want to rip the nice good piece. This is already ripped, and that's what I did with the crappy tip. And that other piece, I measured down 6 inches and it came to the top of here. So we will have that strong piece across the top of there,
And then what I'll do is I'll put a V, like somehow I'll put a V. They probably won't, because of the way that they're, you know, this one's on a 45 from this one, so they won't be a flush anyways. So that'll allow me to fill the whole thing in real tight. I had to cut off the bottom of this because of the frame rail on the inside. So I had to cut it to fit, but that's what I'm thinking. This is gonna go in there like that, like a little bit back, and weld to the side of the frame rail and then over like so, to support this piece right here. And then same on the other side. The thing I like about steel is, like, if you mess it up, like, you can like re-weld it and refix it. It's not like, you know, like a woodworker who's got like some rare piece of like Brazilian rosewood or something, like piece of wood where he, you know, has to measure 500 times, because if you cut that expensive piece once, you're screwed. You're either good or you suck. I'm somewhere in between. Take this big wrench. I'm okay with this. Got a little bit of cleaning up to do, but now it'll be easier also for us. We'll weld these in first, like over there, before we close this box end up. Yeah, I might put it back here more, because if I put it to the end, it's gonna be hard to get up. Once the box is in there, it's gonna be hard to get up in this corner to weld in here. But if I put the support piece here, I mean, I'm probably, these wires are there. I don't know. I don't even know if that's gonna happen today. I gotta grind this all up and clean up. I'll probably spend the rest of the today grinding and cleaning this up. See what happens. What's it look like in here? I haven't seen in here. Oh yeah, looks like a rear end. All right guys, it's Saturday. It's a few days later. I am back on it. I had to work, so today, obviously Saturday, I have off. It's freezing cold. We're supposed to get some snow. I hope we don't, but anyways, I got the batteries disconnected. Since I bought this truck, this is the first time I've had this compartment open. I was a little disappointed to find out that the batteries are just floating around in here, so there's no bracket, so I'm gonna have to make something to hold those in place so they're not floating around. So that was an interesting development. I got old Trusty out. I've had this thing since 2003. I run flux core in this. Now, the reason I got this out is because I was having some trouble with the weld. Everything I'm about to tell you is my fault, because I know better. But I'm still gonna whine and complain about it, because I'm a guy and that's what we do. So, first complaint. Pinholes. I'm getting a ton of pinholes. Alright? I have the welder set according to the chart. I have the correct gas. I have the correct wire. That weld came out nice. Reason that weld came out nice is because it's this simple. When I went in here with the grinder to clean up the metal on the frame, it was easier for me to clean that spot. When I started cleaning up here on this piece, my arm got tired. And then I said, the hell with it, this is taking too long. So that's my fault. That's why I'm getting all of that pinholing, because the metal's dirty. Also my fault is I do not have a garage. Last time I welded with this welder was last year maybe, and I left the wire in it. So every time you leave the wire in it, it rusts. I don't know if you can see it. You can probably see all the rust on the wheel. See all that dust? That is rust.
Even though I put the oil pads on here, the oil pad, look at it. Let me open it up here for you. Rust. See all the rust in there? So that I'm gonna whine and complain about because it sucks, because this wire roll is basically junk. And my dad used to tell me all the time when he was around, kid, you better take that roll off, put it somewhere in a dry spot, put it somewhere dry, don't put it in your basement, put it somewhere, if you put it in the basement, put it next to your furnace, keep your rolls of wire dry so they don't rust, and then if they do rust, throw them out and go buy a new roll. Well, it's Saturday, the place isn't open, stupid me, and there's the chart. Tells you everything you need to know, so no, the thing is not set incorrectly, because I know someone will say that. So for those of you that don't weld or don't know, out of this nose cone, okay, the gas comes out, and the gas is a shielding gas which shields from stuff like, you know, dirty metals and, you know, all kinds of other stuff and science stuff that I'm not going to get into because I don't really remember. If the wind blows, you get pinholes. Now, I busted out old trusty here, and I started, see, I'm not getting any pinholes. The only thing of it is the flux core doesn't do as nice of a weld. Well, I mean, it's strong as hell. I've never had a weld re-break or re-crack or anything. But it's not as clean looking. It's messy. Usually, you have to take the air needle scaler after and clean up everything. You know what else would probably help too is if I preheated the steel. That would definitely help because it's so cold out. I'm not gonna do it though. All right, I'm gonna run some passes over this one here, and then we gotta fit this plate in here. But before we put the plate up here, I got something I need to do to the plate that is going to require me to run a wire through a hole here. Maybe we'll use the big one because that will allow me to run as many wires as I want through there within reason of that size. Make sure we're lined up there. Nothing to clamp to. I'm gonna have to tack it. I don't want the plate higher than this plate, so I'll probably tack this side and then move that magnet over. Like that. Well, that'll hold this end. Got a pretty big gap up here. Problem is, if I go flush, this plate sticks out higher than that plate. I don't know, maybe I should go a little more. It's flush right there. But it could go up a hair more. I don't know, because I want the hinge to come down and not hit it. That's the whole purpose of us doing this, is so this hinge don't come down and hit here, you know? So I don't really want it up too high, but trying to fill a gap like that, I mean, I can do it, it's a lot of welding. I think we could afford to go up like 1/4 of an inch. It's hitting there. I just really wanted this to go into there flat. Yeah, and then we're flush up here. This, I could grind this off. Maybe we should just leave it and then just fill it. I don't know.
Decisions. Crap. I don't know what to do. Maybe I'm just gonna break it off and try it anyways, because now would be the time to do it.